I wonder if any women that are in their 30s and single right now can relate to me on this. So I am 34 and I am single. I live alone. I'm in the UK. I would love children, and I, of course, would love that fantasy dream relationship.
Okay, here we start with the problems. Fantasy dream relationship is already giving me alarms going on. No such thing as fantasy dream relationships.
However, I'm not willing to settle. And a friend asked me the other day, how do I feel about the thought? Like, what does it make me feel when I think about bringing a relationship into my life? And it actually really got me questioning whether I actually even want a relationship. But because what it comes down to is like, I don't want mediocre love.
This is nothing but coping, okay? This whole thing about do I even want it? Do I even want a relationship? She just literally started by saying she wants the fantasy dream life and having children. But then the whole thing about not settling, she's disconnected from reality, because if you are so good as you think you are, then you should have no problem finding a good relationship. You will have men lining up to go and try to marry you and get with you. That is obviously not the case. This type of woman always approaches relationships from the position of superiority and power, and that's in part that's the guy's fault too, because she's probably been with a lot of guys that just kind of put her on a pedestal and inflate her ego. Basically what you end up is with a recipe for disaster, because she's now just coping and trying to rationalize, these guys aren't good and I don't want to settle, and do I really even want to deal with a man, and blah blah blah. And she's just trying to reassure herself that everything is going to be okay and that maybe it's better she stays alone. But in reality, it's not that she's choosing that, it's that she has no choice. The opportunity really isn't presented itself to her because her expectations are not in touch with reality.
I am not accepting that. I am not settling. I've been on a good few dates recently with some nice men. A few. Two. I've been on dates recently with nice men. There was nothing wrong with these men, but they just were an it. And it was on like both terms. I think for both of these men equally, we both thought we knew it wasn't it, you know? And I just, one, I wonder if I'm asking for too much, and I refuse to believe that's a thing.
Yeah, you are asking for too much. I don't know what you're asking for exactly, but I already know it's too much.
Also had friends in the past tell me to lower my standards. I'm sorry, what?
You're not a princess, lady. There's nothing really like that special about not just you, but in general, okay? Everybody has flaws, everybody has their things. You might be good looking, but what else do you really have? I mean, there are plenty of other good looking women, and the type of men that you might be attracted to also can access those other pretty ladies, right? And if those ladies are not going to be scrutinizing and problematic and entitled, he's gonna go for them. He's not gonna go for you. Plus, you're like already mid 30s. Your inflated ego is just making you blind to reality, and you're just now coping with the idea that it's just not gonna happen for you. So then, instead of admitting that you're wrong, you rather just inflate your ego even farther and just say, well, no man is good enough for me, like these guys are just not measuring up. But you don't stop to think that the type of guy you're attracting is a reflection of your own limitations and what you can actually attract and bring into your life.
No. But also, am I willing to let someone in that isn't incredible? No,
Why do you get an incredible person? What makes you entitled to that? Like, what grants you that privilege to have an incredible person?
I'm so at peace with being alone that it's going to take a lot for someone to enter my life in that way. Can anyone else relate? Because I equally would love children, and I am so aware that I am 34 and I ain't getting any younger. Time's not slowing down. Yeah, does anyone else relate to that? Like, I'm so happy being alone, and I would quite happily spend a year not dating but I do really want a relationship, but not with a mediocre man.
Happy being alone, but really wants a relationship, but not with a mediocre man. So instead of trying to look inward, she just has to, on one end, look at men and say this they're just not good enough. But also, she just then takes a look at her own reflection and says, well, everything's okay. I'm okay. I'm happy being alone. I don't really need anybody. I'm totally content with this. And it's just a way to self soothe, even though deep inside she's saying she wants to have a relationship. She understands she's getting older and her chances for having children are getting slimmer. And that she does actually want to have children. So she's in this state of conflict because she just cannot admit that she's not great. I think deep inside she kind of knows it's not going to happen. All right. And she's just kind of making her bed, her coping bed. You know, she's putting the pillow of everything is gonna be okay. Then she's putting the blanket of, well, I don't want to deal with drama. The sheet of like, well, I'm just fine being alone. 10 years will go by and she's gonna be mid-40s and she's gonna feel lonely as hell. And at that point, she's not gonna have any option but to just get inside that bed and just lay in it. I see this so much. It's just really sad because again, she's not a bad looking lady. She she probably could have had a different outcome if she would have had her head straight from a younger age and been more humble. But instead you get this just attitude and entitlement, which is not a good setup.
Like, does that make sense? Or is it just this climate at the minute? Like, are all men just mediocre? Like, dating apps are tragic, right? Yeah, I don't know. Let me know if you can relate.
She's not gonna be humble enough to really ever find somebody. So that's why she's just gonna keep reaffirming herself and to think that it's better to just be alone and that that's gonna be okay and that she's not going to be miserable by it, even though inside she is, because she does wish to be in a relationship and she does wish to have children, but I don't think it's going to happen for her if she continues to have this attitude about it. But anyway, let me know what you think about this in the comments and remember to subscribe. I will see you on the next one.